In this video, we learn how to handle the custom validation in Lightning Record edit form. So let's go to the VS Code, and this time we're gonna start with a new component. So let's create a new component. I'll give this name Record Edit Custom. So now the component is created, and first thing what we're gonna do is we'll create the object on which we're gonna work. So I'll say this time account object from @salesforce schema / account. So now I have the object ready, so I'll map it to the local property object name equal to account object, and then I'll go to the HTML and create a card, give the title name as custom station lightning form, and here we're gonna create our form, that is lightning record edit form, lightning record edit form, and then I'll say the object API name, the same property that we have created, object name. And here what we're gonna do is we'll create only a one field this time, just to demonstrate few things. So I'll create a property lightning input, a label name, a value. I'll create a property, I'll create the property name. I'll say on key up handle. In this time we are creating a different input field altogether within this form, that is a custom input field, I would say. I'll create the class and I'll give some margin bottom. So I'll say slds margin bottom underscore small. I close this input field and I'll go to the JS file. I'll create this method. This method gets called up whenever you type something in the field, it will receive the event. And I'm using a property for the value, so I'll give this name like input value, and I'll create a property here, input value. I'll initialize it with the empty string. Then I'll say whenever somebody types, so update this input value dot target dot value. So the value comes under this property event dot target dot value, and we'll map it to the input value. This is the first thing, and on click of submit, I want to do some validation here. So we'll create the on submit method here. We'll say handle submit. This method call once you click on submit button. I'll go and create this method as well, handle submit. And before that we need to create the button, that is a submit button. So I'll say lightning button class sld margin top small, gives the small margin to the top of the button. And the key point here is your button type should be submit. Then only this form get to know, okay, that submit button has been clicked, so it should be submit. And then you can create the label. I'll say create account. And the button is ready. That button should call the handle submit automatically because type is submit. So by default the form knows this button whenever clicked I need to call the handle submit. And once the handle submit called, first thing we'll say it will receive an event, and we don't want to refresh the form. For that we'll say event dot prevent default, because whenever you submit the form, basically JavaScript browser refresh the page, so we don't want that, so we are using event.prevent default. Then what we're gonna do is we'll fetch the input field. I'll say this dot query selector fetch. Why I'm telling you in this way, because right now I'm taking only one input field. In real time you will have 10 or 20 fields, so this is the easiest way to fetch all the value of the form fields. So what I'll do is I'll take input field, I'll say this dot template dot query selector. In if there are more than one field, you use query selector all, but right now we have an example only with one input field, so I'm calling the only query selector. And then I'm checking what's the value inside the input field that we have fetched, the dot value. And then I want some condition, right? I want to trigger some error message below this, so I just will check if the user type something and that string doesn't contain Australia, it should throw an error. Okay, so we'll go with this condition. So I'll say if the value that has been typed or written in the field is includes Australia or not. If not, go inside this if condition and trigger the custom validity. So this is the method that is set custom validity. The spelling is validity, validity, and this will take the error message that you want to show. So I'll say the account name must include Australia. Okay. So whenever the user types something and that something doesn't contain Australia keyword, it will throw an error. If it contains the Australia, then what we're gonna do is we'll say set custom validity to empty string. It means hide the error or remove the error with the empty string. And then we'll take the fields. What we're gonna do is const fields equal to event dot detail dot fields, and we'll say the field dot name is the API name, actually the field API name. If you are mapping this data to a type, then it should be fields dot type. It's an annual revenue, it should be annual revenue, it should be industry, it can be anything, but the name should be the exact name that is mentioned while creating your fields in the object manager. So this is the name for the field. So I'm telling I'm creating a field name, and to that I'm passing the value. I'll say put well value. So you can use this value as well. They're both are same almost, so we don't need that. So I'm just mapping that value, and then I'm saying submit it. So now we are submitting programmatically. We'll say this dot template dot query selector, fetch the record form. We are fetching the record form, and on that we are calling the submit method, and to the submit method we are passing the fields like this. If you have other fields, you need to use it like fields dot annual revenue like this, and your data some number. So we have only one field, so we are creating only the name fields, and we are assigning the value to that name field, and we are sending those fields. And outside this if else condition will show the error right away without user interaction. For that, what we're gonna do is we'll say input component dot report validity. This method just trigger if something is assigned under the custom validity. So here we are setting the error message. This was throwing that error message basically. So now we created the handle submit. So I'll repeat it quickly. We created the lightning edit record form. I have created a one input field. Inside that form we are creating the button, and button should always be of type submit. And to the record edit form we have created a property on submit. Whenever this button clicks, it will call the handle submit, and when it trigger the handle submit, it will first use event.prevent default, which will help us to not refresh the page. Okay, so it stopped the page refresh, and then we are fetching the input field, that is the input box that we have created within the form, and we fetch the value from that input field, and we'll check whether the text written in the input field contains Australia or not. If it's not having the text Australia, we'll throw a message the account name must include Australia, and it immediately throws an error to the screen. If it contains the Australia keyword, then we'll take that field, and we just map the value that has been entered to a field name, and then we call the submit method of the lightning record edit form and pass the fields that we want to create. So this is the submit functionality. Now I want to handle the other things as well. So I want a success handler. So the success handler that I want is like when the form is created, I want to create the toast message on the screen. For that, what I'm gonna do, I'll say on success, call success handler, and once the form created successfully, this method gets called up. And here what we're gonna do is we're gonna handle the, like, we'll catch the record ID, it will receive an event, and to show that record ID, what we can do is we can use the toast message. And for toast message, we already know we need to import the show toast event. So let's go to the top, and we'll say import show toast event from lightning platform show toast event. So once this is available, what we'll do, under the success handler, we'll create the show toast event. It takes some properties like title, so we'll say count created, then it will take message, say record ID, say the record ID event dot detail dot ID. We'll get the ID from the event using event dot detail dot ID, and then variant, because this is always a success variant, because success handler will get called once the record is created, and once the toast event is created, will store into a variable toast event, and will dispatch this toast event. This dot dispatch event, and now we already created this submit validation, that is custom validation, and the success handler. Let's deploy this now, and before deploying we need to set the custom metadata. So we are setting the is exposed to two targets to lightning app page. Let's deploy this component now. So the component is deployed. Let's go to our page, base components. Let's go to gear icon, click the edit page. Search for our component, that is record edit custom. We'll drag it to the center. I'll hit save, go back. So now first we'll test our custom validation. So I'll type something in the name without Australia. So I'll say 020, and if I hit create record, it should trigger a custom message that we have said the account name must include Australia. So now you can see, like, be able to show the custom error messages. Now I'll say 020 Australia, and now it shows us the toast message and the ID is available. So now account created successfully. So this is how we handle the custom error messages. and I want to show you the other thing as well, that is how we can handle the server errors in this. And for that, what we're gonna do is we'll use another attribute. We'll go to the HTML and we'll say on error. So like on success, there is a property on error, and this will call a handle error. So these names can be any name that you wanna use in your JS. So I'm creating a method now, handle error. It will also receive an event, and here what I'm gonna do is I'll copy paste the same toast event, and this time it's an type variant error. We'll show the error message. We'll say event dot detail dot message, and we'll say error creating account. Okay, so what will happen is whenever while creating we got a server error or something, this handle error gets called up, it will receive the message and it triggered the toast message, and the toast message comes on the screen. So let's deploy this. But right now, how we gonna trigger the um, server message? For that, we'll try one technique. So now I'll refresh the page. Technique is we'll do the right click, go to the inspect element. We'll go to the network tabs, and here there is a drop down like online. I'll take my network to the offline. Okay, now the network is offline. We'll say my Australia. So the text is valid, account name. And now if I hit create account, it should take the server error because the network will not work. It's in offline mode. So let's see if it throws an error or not. So it's a error creating account, right? So because the network is not working, it goes in the offline mode. So this is the way how you can mock the like real-time errors. I'll go back to the online mode, and this is how you handle your on error as well. So now we have covered all three approaches, how you handle your on submit custom validation, on success how you show the toast message, on error how you show the error messages. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.